So we start now. So today's topic is how to make a diet chart for malnourished children. How to make a diet chart for malnourished children. And last week we studied about how to diagnose this condition. Now, 2 days back we sent you this picture. Now the importance of this chart is that each food product, like for example meat, chicken, fish, egg, has a certain amount of calories, and a certain amount of proteins, So what is the importance of this? Because when you're going to make a diet chart, it has to be according to the calories and proteins required, and how to reach to the calculation that we will study today. So I hope many of you have copied this. If not, we will again show this slide in the coming slides. So malnutrition types and varying deficiency of proteins and calories. So before making a diet chart, you should know what are the types of malnutrition. Now in the last lecture, we studied that below 80%, if the expected weight, if the present weight of the child is below 80% of the expected weight, then that child is considered as malnourished. For example, if this is the 100% weight, okay? If this is the 100% weight of the child, draw one line here. So this is the 100%. What is 100%? According to the formula, if you take a 4-year-old child, if you put this 4-year-old child in your formula, that is age in years into 2 plus 8. So the 100% weight is what? 16 kilo. So 100% weight, that is what you expect according to the formula. And 80%, 80%. So below 80% of expected weight, if any child comes below 80%, then that child is malnourished. I repeat, if any child comes below 80% of expected weight, then that child is malnourished. So this is the normal range. This is the normal range. For example, if the 4-year-old child is not even 16, if he is about 15, if he's on 14, he'll come in this range. He will come in this range. So these children are normal. They are not malnourished. Fine. But if this child who's 4-year-old, a 4-year-old child whose expected weight is 16 kilo, if his weight is, for example, 10 kilo, that is below 80%, then he comes in this category. And when you come below 80%, you are malnourished. Coming further down, now just make a note of this. The right corner will be undernutrition or undernourished, and the left column will be kwashiorkor. Okay, so there are various types of malnutrition. With the help of this diagram, we will be able to differentiate. So in undernourishment, there is deficiency of proteins and calories, which is equal. I'll explain it to you. There is deficiency of, now this sign means less, deficiency of proteins and calories. And this proteins and calories are equally deficient. That means दोनों भी equally कम है. As it is not like it is not like the protein is less or the calorie is less. Both are equally deficient. So these children come under undernutrition. Now for kwashiorkor, again there is a deficiency, but in kwashiorkor there is deficiency of more proteins. Deficiency of more proteins than calories. Okay, so in kwashiorkor there is deficiency of more proteins than calories, and due to this deficiency of more proteins, these children will have edema. These children will have edema. So when there is more deficiency of proteins, there is a osmotic imbalance, and due to this osmotic imbalance, there is edema in these children. So these patients will have edema. So if you see these children, we will come to the images later, they will have edema. And why do they have edema? Because they have more deficient in proteins. Whereas undernutrition, there is deficiency of proteins and calories equally. दोनों भी equally कम है. Whereas in kwashiorkor, proteins are more or less, hence it leads to edema. So this is how you will diagnose, okay, this child is undernourished. No, this child is kwashiorkor. Now coming further down, now you go more further down, and this is now the 60% line. 60% line. This was the 80% line. So this line was the criteria for malnourished. Any child coming below 80% of expected weight, any child coming below 80% of expected weight having edema will be kwashiorkor. Any child coming below 80% having no edema will be undernourished. But just to add in this statement, these children should be below 80% but above 60% of expected. So if you want to find the 60% of the expected weight, for example, same example, the 4-year-old child, his expected weight was 16. To get the 80% of 16, what did you do? You multiplied 0.8 into 16 and then you got the 80% of that 16. Again, if you want to get 60% of 16 kilo, you have to multiply it by 0.6. So now in the next slide, we'll study how below 60%. So this is 60%. 60%. So those children who are below 60% are severe malnutrition. They come under severe malnutrition. Okay, this is malnutrition. This is malnutrition. But coming below 60% is severe malnutrition. So if a child's weight is below or between 80 to 60%, then there are two diagnoses. One is undernourishment and second is kwashiorkor. And how to differentiate that you very well know. Now below 60%, again same thing, two columns. Now this is severe malnutrition, so hence I'm drawing two lines, two arrow below. Here also proteins and calories equally deficient. Equally deficient. Now when proteins and calories are equally deficient, the diagnosis comes as marasmus. Marasmus. So what is marasmus? If a child's weight is below 60% of expected weight, I repeat, if a child's weight is below 60% of the expected weight and he has an equal deficiency of proteins and calories, then it is marasmus. Now coming to the left column, there is a deficiency of more proteins, deficiency of more proteins than calories, giving rise to edema. That means using your formula, you came to know, okay, this child's weight is less than 60% of expected weight. So these children are diagnosed as marasmic. Why marasmic? Because less than 60% of expected are called as marasmic kwashiorkor. So yes, today's lecture is all about making a diet chart. But before making a diet chart, you must diagnose malnutrition. So how will you diagnose? There are four diagnoses. There are four types. Between 100 to 80%, between 100 to 80%, these children are normal. These children are normal. So someone can tell me what is the 80% of 16 kilo? What can be the, someone can message what is the 80% of 16 kilo? So we're taking a 4-year-old child. His expected weight is 16 kilo. So what is the 80% of 16 kilo? Someone has told. It is 12.8. Good. So the 80% of 16 kilo is 12.8. So here will be 12.8. Okay, 12.8 kilo. So between 16 kilo and 12.8 kilo, whatever is the weight, those children are normal. They are not malnourished. That means 12.9, 13, 13.5, 14. They are not malnutrition. All those children below 12.8, all those children below 12.8 fall under malnutrition. Now someone tell me what is the 60% of 16 kilo? What is the 60% of 16 kilo? Do 0.6 into 16. What can be the 60% of 16 kilo? Do 0.6. 9.6. So Ramya has answered it's 9.6. So what is 9? This is 9.6. So this is 9.6 kilo. So all those children between 9.6 kilo and between 12.8 kilo will come in this category in malnutrition. All those children who are 4 years old and below 9.6 kilo, they come below 60% and they come in this category. Once you decide your category, then you can easily diagnose them because you have only two diagnoses per category. So, for example, a 9 kilo child comes to your clinic with edema. I repeat, a 9 kilo child who's 4-year-old comes to a clinic with edema. So first thing what you do, you use the formula. By using the formula, you come to know, okay, the expected weight of this guy is 16 kilo, but he is 9 kilo. So you do the calculation. You come to know, okay, his 9 kilos below 60%. So two diagnoses below 60%. One is marasmus, one is marasmic Kwashiorkor. Straight away look at the child. Look at the child's abdomen. If there is edema, straight away you get the diagnosis of marasmic Kwashiorkor. Very simple. Okay. We are going ahead. If anyone has a doubt, please let us know. So now coming to Kwashiorkor. In Kwashiorkor, the weight is less than, yes, it is less than 80% of expected weight. Less than 80% of expected weight. Very good. But it is more than 60% of expected weight. Fine. Now, again, I'll take you back to the chart. Kwashiorkor, come back. What is Kwashiorkor? Kwashiorkor less than 80% and above 60%. So same thing we've written, okay? And due to more, Kwashiorkor due to more deficiency of, yes, you got it right, proteins. Okay? We have many students from our AI PhD batch. Every year, one question comes from pediatrics, and all these are one-line questions. So please make a note. So due to more deficiency of proteins, that is Kwashiorkor. Now, this is a child who's having. Someone can tell me the diagnosis, please. What is the diagnosis of this child? He's come to a clinic. Look at him and make the diagnosis. Yeah, someone can tell. Okay, someone is from marasmus. I don't think marasmus. Yeah, so I'm happy someone tried and you made a mistake. So someone has told marasmus, someone has told Kwashiorkor. Now why not marasmus? Because there is edema. There is edema. Look at the edema. There is edema. This edema is only seen in which diagnosis? It is seen in a Kwashiorkor or it is seen in a marasmic Kwashiorkor. So the answer should have been Kwashiorkor. In only marasmus, there is no edema. Why there is no edema? Because there is equal deficiency of proteins and calories. So there will be no edema. So this child who came to your clinic, looking at him only, you have to tell he comes under the Kwashiorkor bracket. And then depending upon the 80% or below 60%, then you have to differentiate between a Kwashiorkor alone or a marasmic Kwashiorkor. So I hope you have understood. This patient is a Kwashiorkor patient. What all theory you have studied, now you have to put it in a practical. So it's fine. Who someone tried, made a mistake is very good. Previous sideline, please. See, I'll explain this again. If a patient is between 80 to 60%, he's either Kwashiorkor or undernourished. If there is no edema, if there is no edema, why there is no edema here? Because proteins and calories are equally deficient, so no edema. But over here, more proteins than calories. So there is this sign means deficiency. There is deficiency of more protein. That means proteins बहुत कम है calories के हिसाब से, इसलिए this child has edema. So Kwashiorkor. Again in this classification, there is deficiency of more proteins than calories. That means proteins are very less. Whenever proteins are less, it leads to a disbalance in the osmotic disbalance. So because of this disbalance, there's edema, gastric edema, and that is why this leads to marasmic Kwashiorkor. Fine, we'll go ahead. Now coming to undernutrition. Take an example. This is a normal child. Normal child, that means his weight was above 80%. His weight was above 80%. Now when his weight was above 80%, what happened? Events like illness, like typhoid, pneumonia, okay, etc. Any illness, especially diarrhea. So events like so no, he was a normal child who was above 80%. But due to some illness like typhoid, pneumonia, diarrhea, he became deficient and he went below 80%. When this child went below 80%, he had equal deficiency of proteins and calories. equal deficiency of proteins and calories. In Kwashiorkor, there was deficiency of proteins and calories, but the deficiency of proteins in Kwashiorkor was more. Due to the more deficiency of proteins, this child went into edema. But in an undernourished child, there is equal distribution of proteins and calories. So the osmotic levels are not disturbed. Whereas in Kwashiorkor, the protein deficiency is way high. This leads to a it disturbs the osmotic levels, and that is why there is edema in Kwashiorkor. In undernutrition, there is no edema. There is no edema. Why? Because equal deficiency of proteins and calories, so no edema. I hope this is clear. If someone is still not understood, I'll repeat it. So now this child who's undernourished comes to your clinic, and you know he's undernourished and equal deficiency of proteins and calories. Now, I as a doctor, while prescribing a diet, usually while prescribing diets, it is very general. We tell the patients you eat this, eat that, and we give him everything we tell. But by chance, a doctor gives only carbohydrates. A doctor gives only carbohydrates to this undernourished child who had equal deficiency of proteins and calories. So see this example. This child had equal deficiency of proteins and calories. Okay, equal deficiency, two lines. Now, while giving the diet as a doctor, I do not know the values of various food products, and I just tell him give him any diet. As always, we do that because when we don't know about diet, so we tell him we give him more carbohydrates, or we give only carbohydrates. The mistake that we all do, we give only carbohydrates, and once you give only carbohydrates, the calorie deficiency will reduce. The calorie deficiency will reduce. See, first there were two lines. Now you gave a carbohydrate rich diet, so there's only one line. But the protein deficiency still remains two lines. So this child is deprived of proteins. This child is deprived of proteins. So now after giving a diet plan, his calories are becoming alright, but his proteins remain the same. So we go back to the same equation where proteins are more deficient, and you're pushing this patient into Kwashiorkor. So before even learning how to make a diet chart, it is very important to know that your treatment can push a patient from undernutrition to Kwashiorkor. I repeat, how? Yeah, correct. Chania should correct. Same thing that I've told. So I repeat again for the last time. The child came with undernutrition to you, who's having equal deficiency of proteins and calories. You don't pay attention to the diet of this child and tell give anything. The mother goes home and gives only carbohydrates, only carbohydrates. The calorie deficiency will improve, but the protein deficiency still remains. So now what is this child? Is having more deficiency of proteins, and there is a osmotic disbalance leading to edema, and you have pushed this child into Kwashiorkor from undernutrition. I hope this is clear. We'll go ahead. So again, before starting how to make a diet chart, we have to know while making a diet chart what mistakes not to make. Now, if equal deficiency continues, now this child is here, he comes to us, and there's equal deficiency of proteins and calories. Now we don't give him any diet. Now, first in the first scenario, what happened? You gave him a diet rich of calories, so he went into Kwashiorkor. So now you don't give him anything, he still goes in malnutrition. So now equal deficiency of proteins and calories, and still deficiency is occurring. So this child is not going into the edema part because you are not giving only calories. So now where will this patient go to? Someone using the first chart that we made can try to answer this, that this patient of undernutrition who had equal deficiency of proteins and calories, you don't pay attention, and the deficiency of equal continues, and it goes below 60%. First he was 80, below 80%. Once he comes below 60%, now what will be the diagnosis? Marasmus. Very good. I hope others are understanding. Yeah, so good. Marasmus, one more answered. I hope you all are answering. Okay. So equal deficiency continues of proteins and calories, resulting into marasmus. I hope others are understanding. If you are not understanding, I will repeat it because it may be confusing. So now what we study will go back to the chart. Come back to your chart, what you drew. What I told you, this was the patient, okay, undernourished patient. He had equal deficiency of proteins and calories, And due to this equal deficiency, the osmotic balance was maintained. So there was no edema. Now, as a doctor, we give him a diet, and by mistakenly we give him too many calories, and we don't give him proteins. So we push him here. We push him here. How do we push him? Because we're giving more calories. And in kwashiorkor, what is the case? There is more deficiency of proteins, and this patient will get edema, and you're putting him to kwashiorkor. Other scenario also what? You don't stop the patient here. You let him go slip into less than 60% with equal deficiency of proteins and calories. Automatically, you have put the patient into marasmus. So this is the journey of the patient. How we can go to which diagnosis, and how we can stop by not making the simple mistake of giving a proper balanced diet. This is the importance of giving a balanced diet. I hope you've understood this. Now, marasmus. It's a type of which type of malnutrition? It's a severe type of, obviously below 60%, weight less than 60%. Because weight is less than 60%, it is a severe type of malnutrition. So now this patient, you give him a good diet of equal proteins and calories, then this patient will, now see, your patient comes to you of marasmus. His weight is below 60% of expected weight. Now, as a doctor, you give him a equal, that is correct. You give him a diet equal of proteins and calories. So your progress of patient from marasmus 2, someone can answer. Look at the chart. Someone new answer who have not answered first. Not normal. Someone is from normal. No. Before normal, something else will happen to this child. He'll go in another category. Yes, he will go normal eventually, but before normal, he'll become something else. Okay, I'll ask you again. So, this child is marasmic. Someone has answered. Let's see. Yeah, very good. Someone is undernourished. I hope others are not answering. That means are you understanding? I hope you're understanding. So, this child of marasmus, you give him a good diet of equal proteins and calories. So, come back to the chart. So this patient, you give him a good diet of equal proteins and calories. Equal, huh? See, you're not giving more calories. If whenever you give more calories, the patient moves this side. You're giving equal protein and calories, so patient moves upwards and he comes to undernutrition. After here, he'll go to normal. This is the journey of the disease, of the recovery, to say. It is confusing. If someone is not understood, please let me know. We will explain again. Fine. Good diet of equal protein and calories, then this patient goes into undernutrition. That's a good sign, you're giving the correct, you're calculating the correct calories and proteins and you're giving this child, and then this child goes into undernutrition. That's the correct calculation. Now you're giving diet given rich in carbohydrates and less proteins. Now this someone else answered, not the same students. Your patient who's marasmic patient, you give him a diet which is rich in rich in carbohydrates, that means calories, and less in proteins. So where have you pushed this child? Where have you pushed this child? Yeah, so Aditya is told Kwashiorkor, but he's still under 60%. So again, answer. Where your process child where? Yeah, Dhwani has told correct. Marasmic Kwashiorkor, not Kwashiorkor, because marasmus. This child is a marasmic. He comes below 60%. He comes below 60%. And initial, yeah, marasmic Kwashiorkor. So in your initial treatment, you gave him good amount of calories. You made the mistake of giving him good amount of calories and less protein. So from this, you push the patient to this side, and he's still below 60%, right? So he goes into marasmic kwashiorkor, not kwashiorkor, marasmic kwashiorkor. But yes, who said kwashiorkor also are right. Means eventually who answered kwashiorkor also are not wrong, because if his weight increase then he goes above 60%, so he'll go in kwashiorkor. But the word kwashiorkor was important, which all have answered correct. So now before making a diet chart, it was very important for us to know where can we push the patient thinking we are giving him a good diet. It's very important to calculate the values. Hence, 2 days back we sent you the diet chart so that you note it down, because it's very important while making a diet chart, you write the calorie value, because each value carries importance to where your patient is going to head. Fine. So you give a diet rich in carbohydrates and less proteins. So this patient goes into a kwashiorkor. Okay, kwashiorkor, or you can say marasmic kwashiorkor if he's still below 60%. So main is the kwashiorkor word. All I've answered. Good. So simple diagram. This patient is what? Someone can tell me this patient is what? You have to actually not see anything. You have to only look at this component of a patient and then tell what diagnosis it is. This patient is what? You have a rural posting in a hospital. So this is what? Yeah, so very good. So many people know that marasmus. That's very good. And this guy is Kwashiorkor. Okay, and other features you can see, but I'm sure once you see this feature and you know the calculations, you don't have to go through this things. You'll easily diagnose it. So once now you made a diagnosis, now you go to the treatment. So deficiency chart. Now once you have made diagnosed that it is marasmic or Kwashiorkor, now you have to go to the deficiency chart. So again, deficiency chart, how will you make the deficiency chart? For example, if this patient is 4 year old, his expected weight, how will you calculate expected weight? I told you in the last lecture it was age in years into 2 plus 8. So 4 into 2 plus 8 is equal to 16 kilo, is equal to 16 kilo. So this is the expected weight of your patient. Expected weight. Why edema is restricted to abdomen in Kwashiorkor or not general? Because the main osmotic imbalance occurs in the GI, in the gastrointestinal tract. So hence the edema you will see there in Kwashiorkor. Okay, the absorption of proteins and pull more water to one side. So that is, we have to study physiology of osmosis, then we'll understand that. But just to answer in short, the osmotic imbalances mainly occur in the gastrointestinal tract because the protein category goes to the gastrointestinal tract. So the absorption takes place there. Hence, you will see the edema there. So deficiency chart 16 kilo, and this patient comes with a weight of 10 kilo. So this patient is deficient by 6 kilo. This is your first step. Before making a diet chart, just note he's deficient by what kilo. So your patient who's 4 year old, he comes with a weight of 10 kilo. According to the formula, you want a 16 kilo. So he's deficient by 6 kilo. Tell the parents your child is deficient by 6 kilo. Then move ahead. Now, again I'm telling you, before making a, so this is this diet chart that we are making. So we have 10 minutes remaining. We'll go fast now. So the diet chart that we are going to make now in the next 10 minutes, it's called a supplementary diet. What's the meaning of supplementary diet? Supplement का मतलब वो होता है, like when you write your paper, you take 2 pages extra. That is called a supplement when you write your exams. So this diet is also like that only. It's a supplementary diet. That means whatever the child is eating, we are not going to stop that. He has to eat that, and we'll just supplement him. So we are not going to make a big diet chart. Whatever the child is eating, we know he's deficient, it's a wrong diet. But whatever he's eating, on that we will add some food items. So the existing diet remains. Existing diet remains. Junk food should be stopped. Now, what is junk food in pediatric practice is Maggie, okay, Maggie, biscuits. Many parents they give Parle G biscuit and very happily the child is eating biscuits, Maggie, bread, everything that you get at the supermarket store. All junk food should be stopped, but the existing diet, for example, if the child is eating rice, dal, vegetables, whatever the child is eating every day, that will remain. We won't revamp the whole diet. That will remain. And what is a baby-friendly diet? That means this diet should be friendly to the patient in the sense the child should be in a state to accept it. Don't give a very high fashion diet, or nowadays many things are coming, so not like that. This is really not, this is only a supplementary diet. So it should be a baby friendly diet. And again, the existing diet should not change. Existing diet should not change. Then only your diet is going to help. So for example, this 4 year old child comes to your clinic. His expected weight was 16 kilo, but his present weight is 10 kilo. So now you have to make a diet chart for this patient. You know he's coming under the above 80, he's coming in under nutrition. Okay. because he's between 80 to 60%. So now while making a diet chart, tell the mother, अब जो भी rice, dal, chapati, bhaji, whatever she's giving in, अब give, please keep giving it. Don't stop that. So mean weight. Now, whenever we're making a diet chart, we have to go for the mean weight. For example, this 4-year-old child, his expected weight was 16 kilo. His present weight is 10 kilo. So what is the mean weight? Always remember, mean weight is expected weight plus present weight अपॉन टू. इसका मतलब होता है मीन. मीन मतलब यू हैव टू ऐड बोथ दीज थिंग्स एंड डिवाइड बाय 2. 16 प्लस 10 अपॉन 2 is equal to 26 divided by 2 is equal to 13 kilo. So 13 kilo is the mean weight. Now what is the importance of mean weight? Yeah, okay, 13. Yeah, so 13 is the mean weight. So while making a diet chart, as a doctor, we are aiming for 13 kilo. So we are expecting this child to become 13 kilos within 3 months. We are not expecting him to reach 16 kilo. Why we are not expecting? Because we can't go for the expected weight. If a child is 10 kilo, you can't go for 16 kilo in within 3 months. There will be a this child won't be able to accept the food. If for so many years this child is not eating a proper diet of 16 kilo and is eating a diet of 10 kilo, suddenly you give him a diet of 16 kilo, there will be a nutritional recovery syndrome. Someone you can read it on the net. What is nutritional recovery syndrome? He'll have diarrhea, vomiting, headache. He won't accept the food. So we are aiming for the mean weight, and the mean weight is 13 kilo. Now, what is the importance of aiming for this weight? We will study in the coming slides. So again, the 4-year-old child comes to a clinic with weight of 10 kilo. Same in the full seminar I've told you about this same child, 4-year-old. Now we'll take the example. So which type of malnutrition is this? So he's 10 kilo. What is below 80? 12.8. So 12.8 kilo was the 80%. So 10 kilo is below 80%, but above 60%. What was the 60%? I think it was 9.8 or something. So 10 kilo is between 60 to 80%. So which type of malnutrition is this? And okay, this patient has which is no edema. So someone answer fast. What is this? Which type of malnutrition is this? This is undernutrition. Okay, this is undernutrition. No problem. This is undernutrition. So how to know the existing calories and proteins consumed by this child? So you have to ask the mother. You have to ask the mother whatever she gives in the full day. Ask her, like rice, yeah, good, like rice, chapati, bhaji, whatever. Ask the mother, and then what diet chart we gave you. What diet chart we gave you, you have to calculate. Okay, you have to calculate. Okay, that he's having 1 cup rice, so he's having 86 calories, 2 gram protein. So his full day schedule, whatever he eats, you have to calculate the rough amount of calories and proteins he's eating. Just to make it fast, always remember, if the weight is 10 kilo, if the weight is 10 kilo, so for every 1 kg calorie and protein, if the weight is 10 kilo, if the weight is 10 kilo, the basic thing is for every 1 kg, there is the child is eating 100 calories. Just to make it fast now, but in your practice, you have to calculate how much calories and proteins is eating by the diet chart. So he's having, for example, every 1 kilo is equal to 100 calories. So if a 10 kilo child is having 1000 calories, okay, this is the formula that you can use to just practice fast. And for every 1 kilo, how many gram protein? 2 gram protein. So this 10 kilo child is having how many proteins? He's having 20 gram protein. So what is the meaning of this? That means with the help of calculating by the with the chart and with the help of using the chart, you come to know that this child who's 10 kilo is having 1000 calories daily and 20 gram protein. That is why his weight is 10 kilo. And what I told you, that for every 1 kilo it is 100 calories, and for every 1 kilo it is 2 gram protein. So if you want to practice fast, this child comes to your clinic, he's 10 kilo. That means what? Multiply 10 by 100. That means he's having 1000 calories daily, and multiply 2 by 10. That means he's having 20 gram protein daily. So this 1000 calories and 20-gram protein is the daily intake of this child, okay, which is not sufficient. So again, what was the mean weight of the child? Yes, it was 13 kilo. So what is the expected calorie intake? Someone can just tell me fast, what is the expected calorie intake if you want 13 kilo, and what is the expected protein intake if you want 13 kilo? Every kg 100 calories, every kg into 2 proteins. I've gone fast, so I'm sure people must have understood this. Yeah, so Chandni is right. It is 1300 calories and 26 gram protein. Fine. 1300 calories and 26-gram protein. Yeah, good. People have understood. So you want this child to have 1300 calories and you want this child to have 26-gram protein. But what was this child eating up till now? He was having 1000 calories and he was having 20-gram protein. So now, so what is the calorie and protein requirement for to get the mean weight? You have to add how many calories in the diet and how many proteins in the diet, how many gram protein. This child was eating 1000 calories, okay, and you want him to eat 1300. Now he was eating 20-gram protein, you want him to eat 26 gram. So in the supplementary diet chart, when you're making, how many calories and proteins you're going to tell him to eat? Someone has answered right. You're going to tell this child 300 calories extra khawa or 6 gram protein extra khawa. It makes it so simple for you as a doctor to give this diet to the patient, because you don't take the headache of make the whole diet chart. You tell him, okay, you are whatever you're eating, you eat that. I don't want, since you have already known whatever you're eating, you eat that. Just add this food item that I am telling you. So now we have only 1 minute left. The class is going to end, but I just need another 5 to 8 minutes to explain you the end of this thing so that you complete this lecture. So we'll stop now and we'll again start this lecture in 5 minutes, because it takes 5 minutes for Zoom to reload. So you all can wait, and we'll just the next session will be just for 5 minutes where we'll finish off this last part. Till then, you just read your notes, and if you have doubts, I'm sure because I've gone very fast, so please ask me. Okay, we'll come back in 5 minutes. Fine. So coming till here, additionally, you have to tell this child to eat a food product that has more 300 calories and more 6 gram protein, and his existing diet or whatever he was eating stays the same. So supplementary diet chart should be made of the 300 calories and the 6 gram protein. Now, making of supplementary diet chart. How will you make the supplementary diet chart? You have to refer this. Now, whenever you're making a supplementary diet chart, you have to refer the chart. For example, now your patient requires only 300 additional calories and he requires only 6 gram additional proteins. So what will you tell your patient? This thing. Now someone just tell me, if using this column, okay, refer this column of calories and the proteins. And someone tell me this patient is there who's 4 year old and you have to attain a weight of 13 from 10. So what type of weight, what type of additional thing you tell him to eat so that there is a 300 calories and you have a 6 gram protein. Someone just make a small supplementary chart in your book. What will you tell your patient what to have extra? One item just to cover the 300 calories and the proteins. So I'll write it for you. For example, take one banana. Take one banana. Now, after you take a banana, it has 116 calories according to the chart and it has 1 gram protein. So, we take a banana. Banana is having 116 calories and this is the protein and a 1 gram protein. How much do we want? Someone has messaged, we'll just check. Yeah, but someone showed dairy products and fruits, but not like that. You have to be very specific because you don't want to push him into another diagnosis. So you have to be very specific. You have to be very specific. You have to be very specific in what you want. Fine. So being specific for our patient, we told one banana, that's 116 calories and 1 gram of protein. Second thing, come back to the chart, go to egg. One boiled egg. One boiled egg will give you how many calories? It will give you 69 calories and 5 gram protein. One whole boiled egg. Write it here. One boiled egg will give you 69 calories and 5 gram protein. Now, what was the requirement of a supplement? What was the requirement? Requirement was getting a 6 gram protein and a 300 calories. Looking at your protein while making a diet chart, you come to know, okay, the protein is satisfied. Giving this child only one extra banana and one extra boiled egg, he's getting a 6 gram calorie. So I'm not giving him less proteins at least. If you give above 6 gram protein, that's fine. But your supplementary diet chart should not be less protein. So you're happy that okay, I'm giving him at least 6 gram protein. So you're sorted in the protein section. Calories, if you just calculate this roughly, you will get around 170, 180. So you're still lacking for 120 calories to reach what? To reach 300. Yeah, Aditi is right. 115 calories left. So come back again to your chart. Now I told you if you give more proteins, that's fine. That's no harm. But just pull the calories to more than 300. So look at this chart. If you just look at this chart and you go to something a very very good diet in our country to prescribe is something like jaggery. Because if you give jaggery, that is called good in Hindi, it even suffices the iron deficiency what the children have. Because most children that are malnourished will be iron deficient, so giving them jaggery will help them. So look at this jaggery, it has 96 calories. It has 96 calories. So again, you are sorted. You put jaggery in your diet chart, it gives him 96 calories. So if you add all this, you get something around 260, 269, 275. You come to 275, that is acceptable. So this 275 is acceptable. Obviously, you won't every time match to 300, but that's fine. Giving 275 calories because somewhere or the other in his extra diet he make up for the calories, but he should not be deficient in protein. So this is a very simple supplementary diet chart. So never call this a diet chart. Always tell your patient a supplementary diet chart. That means, for example, now your patient was normally having one chapati, okay, one bowl of dal, one bowl rice, okay, and so on. He was having this, but having this every day, his weight was only 10 kilo, and he was coming under malnutrition. So now, what do you want? You want 13 kilo. So you are adding this, you are trying to bridge this gap, and you bridge this gap by adding how many? 300 extra calories and 6 gram extra protein. So whatever the child was eating first, you have to make it very clear to the parent ki whatever he is following, let him follow. So we told you what is a baby friendly diet. So whatever the baby was eating from, the child was eating from so many years, he will obviously continue eating that. And it is so simple to give him only one extra banana and one extra boiled egg and one piece of jaggery. It is so simple to just give this. Or if you completely revamp the completely diet and you go to make a diet of 1300 calories and 26 gram protein, you may make a diet that this child will never eat. But if you pull his own diet and you just add your banana, egg, and jaggery, within 3 months, you have to go for 13 kilo. And in the next 3 months, go for the remaining 3 kilo, that is 16 kilo. So in this way, you have to progress and always call this a supplementary diet chart, which is so simple to make once you have this chart. Okay, you have to note this down in your notebook and we will send it on WhatsApp. You have to see this chart and keep it in your clinic and refer the chart. When you make diet charts 10, 15, then automatically you'll remember it. Otherwise, you won't remember. So whenever a patient comes in front of you, refer this chart. And why the other products given? Because these are what normally Indian foods, what normally Indian foods have. So in this way, you have to even calculate what the child is having. For example, I told you that every kilo give 100 calories, every kilo give 2 gram protein. Then you can calculate how much is having. That's for if you want to practice fast. But if you want to practice in the correct manner, is that you have to ask the mother to write everything what she's giving her child. After the mother writes and gets it, then you have to calculate how many calories he's eating. Like if the mother tells I give him one medium katori dal every day. So you have to know he's having 86 calories and 6 gram protein. She tells I give him rice. She tells I'm giving him wheat flour, that is one chapati. So you have to calculate what is eating. Once you calculate what is eating, it is very simple for you to addition what is deficient. So this is the importance of this chart. And it's very simple. Once you start making one, two charts, you can make it. So this was the main thing that we came back for and studied because we had more time. So you should know this. So now, as part of golden diet, in addition to supplementary diet, what's the meaning of this? That means you have told your patient have a supplementary diet, but in your rural practice, due to some financial problem or because the ladies in the house also are working, so they are not able to give that much attention to the children. So this calculation what you do will be fine till your OPD, but the parent will not be able to follow it. So, as part of golden diet, in addition to supplementary diet chart, is giving a child peanut jaggery, okay, peanut jaggery laddu or Shengdana good laddu, called in Maharashtra very famously called Shengdana good laddu, or in English peanut jaggery laddu, because one peanut jaggery laddu will have 350 calories. Peanut, it has peanut, 350 calories and 25-gram protein if you make a peanut jaggery laddu. So all your patients in your rural practice, in your OPD practice, always after giving supplementary diet, tell your patient to take a peanut jaggery laddu every day, because for 7 days, 14 days of the parent will follow what you have told, but sometimes they may miss. But if he's having that laddu, he will obviously be above the range. That is good because anyways we have calculated for the mean weight. So if he's having more calories of protein, that's fine. He's going towards the 16 kilo. So always tell all your patients to have a peanut jaggery laddu because it is economically for Indian parents and it is having highest value. So peanut jaggery laddu should be in every diet. So these are just few images. We have finished with today's lecture. These are just few images how we at Pune tried. We do malnutrition camps and give diet to children. So these are few few pictures I've sent on the group earlier. How we're taking normal weight of the child, and this doctor is taking the chest circumference of the child. Okay, because we always compare the head circumference with the chest circumference. While comparing that, if after 1 year the head is still big than the chest, that means these children are malnourished. So this is how we do our camps. Before camp, we just meet up and discuss which doctor will take care of which counter. This is a part of the CCN course that we give. It's a free course for students who are in Pune. And now that we are getting it online, which these lectures are a part of that. This is the team going to the schools for malnutrition camp. Then this is one of the CCN classes that should happen. These are the live classes, but since COVID, we have gone online. This is one of the batches. And if you see this doctor catching this thing, you just notice this blue box. So that was the Pulse Polio campaign that we the students take part in. Yes, you'll get the recording of this webinar. So this box has the vaccines of Pulse Polio campaign. So all the students who have been going for entrance, they give you an image based question. So they ask you what is this. This is the component of cold chain, how to maintain cold chain. So after doing the all malnutrition camp, you have to make a black book of all your diet. So the doctors, when they make the diet, they have to maintain a black book of all the children so that they learn while making the diet. So this is the black book that we tell them to make. This is the certificate that you get at the end of the course. Okay, and this is one of the classes that we take. Again, same thing, malnutrition. Now we're doing it online. So thank you everyone for joining and sparing time. So if anyone has any doubt regarding anything, you can ask, or on WhatsApp we can share the doubt. And any patient who you'll see, pediatric patient, take the weight, take the age, and send it on the group so that all can calculate, and then we can decide which category this patient is coming into. So thank you for joining. We'll finish for today. If any question you can ask here or on WhatsApp, we'll answer.